You think betrayal hurts when it comes from a stranger. But when it's from the two people you trusted the most, your boyfriend and your best friend, the pain cuts deeper than you ever thought possible. I wasn't just betrayed, I was blindsided, humiliated, and discarded. Or so they thought. When I found out that my best friend was pregnant, I wanted to be happy for her. Until she told me who the father was, and my entire world shattered. Because the man she was talking about? He wasn't just her boyfriend. He was mine too. And what she didn't know was that he was still coming to my bed every single week. This is a story about secrets, lies, and the kind of revenge you don't see coming until it's too late. Before we begin, if you're into jaw-dropping true-style drama stories, betrayals that twist your stomach, and revenge that tastes so sweet, you're in the right place. Drop a comment if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted. Subscribe to our channel for new stories every week. Like this video if you're ready for a wild ride. Now, let's start with part 1. I remember that Saturday morning clearly. The way the sun poured into the room, warm and golden, like the universe itself was smiling on me. At least, that's how it felt. I had just woken up beside Jason, his arm draped lazily across my waist, the steady rhythm of his breath brushing against the back of my neck. It had been 3 years. 3 whole years since I met him, and somehow, even after all this time, he still made my heart skip. He wasn't perfect, but he was mine. Or so I thought. We had plans that day. A quiet brunch, a movie in the afternoon, and dinner at the new Italian place I'd been hinting at for weeks. I even wore the soft blue dress he said made my eyes look like oceans. Stupid, I know. But when you love someone, you hold on to the smallest things. But then, everything changed. At brunch, Jason was distracted. He kept checking his phone, his eyes darting down every time it buzzed. When I asked him if everything was okay, he gave me a quick smile. Just work, he said, brushing it off with a kiss on the cheek. I wanted to believe him. So I did. After the movie, he said he had to step away for a bit. Something urgent had come up, and he promised he'd meet me for dinner. I waited for 2 hours at that Italian restaurant. 2 hours. Alone. Humiliated. He didn't show. I should have known something was wrong. But instead of confronting him, I texted my best friend, Tasha. Tasha, you free to talk? Jason ditched me again. She didn't reply for a while, but when she did, she told me she was out with someone and couldn't talk just yet. I didn't think much of it at the time. Why would I? She was my best friend. I spent that night alone in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if Jason was losing interest. Maybe I had done something wrong. Maybe I wasn't enough anymore. Funny how we always blame ourselves first. The next morning, Jason finally called. I'm so sorry, babe, he said, his voice rushed and apologetic. Work emergency. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I wanted to scream at him, to hang up, to say I was tired of being an afterthought. But instead, I said, okay. Because love makes you stupid. A few days passed. Things felt normal again. He came over that Thursday night. We watched some Netflix, ordered Thai food, and ended up in bed. He held me like nothing had happened. And for a few hours, I allowed myself to believe that everything was fine. Then, Friday afternoon, Tasha called. I need to tell you something, she said. Her voice trembled slightly. What's up? I asked, distracted, as I typed away on my laptop. I'm pregnant. My fingers froze over the keyboard. You're what? Pregnant, she repeated. I haven't told anyone yet. Just found out. You're the first to know. Despite the surprise, I smiled. Wow. Tasha, that's huge. Who's the father? There was a pause. And then she said his name. Jason. My whole world stopped. I dropped the phone. I didn't pick up the phone right away. My hands were shaking. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my throat. Jason. Jason was the father? I stared at the screen, still connected to the call with Tasha. Her voice was muffled now, calling my name, asking if I was still there. Yeah, I finally whispered, forcing my voice not to crack. Jason. Are you sure? Yes, she said, exhaling like the confession had been burning her from the inside. I know this is going to sound crazy, but it just happened. I didn't plan for it. I didn't even want to tell you at first. But I felt like I had to. I didn't want to lie to you. Lie to me? The irony. I swallowed the lump forming in my throat and said the only thing I could manage in that moment. Thanks for telling me. After I hung up, I sat on the edge of my bed in silence. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, numb, remembering every moment the three of us had spent together. The way Tasha always laughed at Jason's jokes, the lingering looks I had thought were just imagination, the little moments I had brushed aside. But now, everything made sense. They had betrayed me. Together. And yet, Jason was just at my place last night, telling me he loved me, touching me like I was the only one. Was he doing the same to her? I needed answers. But I wasn't going to ask. I was going to find out for myself. I waited until the next time Jason came over. He texted me that Saturday night, saying he missed me and wanted to see me. I agreed, my heart pounding in my chest the whole time. When he arrived, he kissed me like nothing had changed. I played along. We ate dinner, watched a movie, and he fell asleep beside me on the couch. That's when I moved. His phone was in his jacket pocket. I knew his passcode. He'd been careless enough to leave it unlocked around me before. I crept to the corner of the room, turned the brightness all the way down, and opened his messages. My hands trembled, but I kept scrolling. There she was. Tasha. I couldn't stop thinking about last night. Do you think she suspects anything? I wish we could be together without the guilt. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. There were photos, too, of them. Together. Some recent. Some not. Some. During the same week he had told me he was working late. I put the phone back and walked to the bathroom, barely able to hold myself upright. My face in the mirror looked pale. Hollow. And yet, behind the pain, a plan was forming. They thought I didn't know. So I was going to show them what happens when you underestimate someone who's been silent for too long. The next morning, I cooked breakfast. Jason walked into the kitchen, yawning, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. You're spoiling me, he said, smiling. What's the occasion? I smiled back, acting like I didn't want to shove the pan of scrambled eggs into his lying face. No occasion, I said sweetly. Just wanted us to have a good morning. He kissed me on the forehead. You're amazing, you know that? I forced myself to hold the smile. I know. That afternoon, I called Tasha. I've been thinking, I said, my voice calm. You're pregnant. And whether I like it or not, Jason's going to be in your life now. We should talk. All three of us. She sounded hesitant. You really want that? I want to understand. And I want to hear it from both of you. I think I deserve that, don't you? She paused. Yeah, I guess you do. Come over tonight, I said. Both of you. Let's just talk this out like adults. She agreed. I spent the next 2 hours preparing my apartment, not cleaning, not organizing, but setting up everything. My phone was placed in recording mode, tucked in a spot that captured the couch perfectly. I made sure a glass of wine was waiting for each of them. I wanted them comfortable. I wanted them honest. When they arrived, they looked nervous. Jason glanced at Tasha like they'd practiced something. She took my hand. I'm sorry, she said softly. I really didn't mean to hurt you. I looked at both of them and said calmly, just tell me the truth. From the beginning. And that's when they started talking. Laying out every little detail, when it started, how long it lasted, how they never planned for it to go so far. And how Jason still wasn't sure who he wanted to be with. They thought they were coming clean. They didn't know they were confessing on camera. And I was just getting started. After they left that night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there, the taste of their betrayal still in the air, the half-empty wine glasses on the table like ghostly reminders of what they'd done. I reached for my phone. The recording had captured it all. Tasha's trembling apologies, Jason's pathetic justifications, every disgusting detail. The part where they laughed nervously, saying they never thought I'd find out. The part where he said he still loved me, but he was confused. Confused. That was rich. I listened to it twice. Then a third time. Each word made me colder. Sharper. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to destroy them in silence. But I needed to be smart. Methodical. Because nothing stings more than a betrayal made public. Over the next few days, I played the part of the understanding ex-girlfriend. I told Jason I needed time to process. I told Tasha I didn't want to lose our friendship. I even offered to help her look at baby gear online. All lies. They both believed it. Jason texted me constantly, wanting to see me again. I let him. Not because I missed him, but because I needed to keep him close. The more access I had to him, the more I could gather. He didn't just cheat on me, he cheated on both of us. I found messages to another woman, someone I didn't even know. Just a fling, he wrote. Didn't mean anything. A pattern. A predator. And Tasha? She was still convinced Jason was going to leave me for her. Still wearing that stupid hopeful smile. So I decided to give her a little nudge. I started planting doubts. I'm so glad you two are going to raise this baby together, I told her over lunch. He told me he was finally ready to settle down. Her eyes lit up. Really? He said that? Oh yeah. Said he's all in. He even said you were glowing now. She blushed, placing a protective hand on her stomach. Perfect. Because now she was going to fall even harder, before the truth crashed down around her. A few weeks later, Tasha invited me to her baby shower. It was going to be small, just close friends and family. She even asked if I would help her organize it. Only if you want to, she added, a little hesitant. I know it's weird, but it would mean a lot. I agreed with a smile. Of course. Anything for you. Jason would be there too. Of course he would. They were presenting themselves as a couple now, especially in front of their families. A couple built on lies and stolen moments. And I was going to be the shadow in the background, until the moment I wasn't. I designed a beautiful slideshow for the event. Photos of Tasha growing up, her childhood, her teenage years, her life in college. Sweet captions. Music. Emotion. Everyone would be watching. And at the very end of that slideshow, would be a special clip. Not a photo. Not a song. A recording. Their recording. The one where they laughed about betraying me. Where Jason admitted he didn't even know if he wanted the baby. Where Tasha confessed she started seeing him while he and I were still together. And everyone, her mother, her sister, his cousins, would hear it. I wouldn't even have to say a word. Just press play. And watch the walls come down. I spent the week before the baby shower perfecting every detail. The decorations? Gorgeous, elegant pastel blues and creams, tasteful floral arrangements, a cake that looked like it was made for a magazine cover. Tasha trusted me with everything. Why wouldn't she? I was her best friend, after all. The slideshow was ready too. I made sure it looked as sentimental and innocent as possible. I even added a little animation at the start, for Baby C. With love. That would make everyone lower their guard. The final 90 seconds of the presentation, however, were anything but innocent. Jason's voice would be the first thing they'd hear. I mean, I still sleep with her sometimes. But it's not like I don't love you too. Then Tasha's. She's so clueless. Honestly, it's kind of fun watching her try to be understanding. It was disgusting. And it was going to play on a projector screen in front of 2 families and a room full of friends. I smiled to myself as I rehearsed my speech. Just a few words. Calm. Polite. Devastating. I was done being the fool. The day of the baby shower arrived with sunshine and fake smiles. I wore a soft yellow dress and brought homemade cupcakes. Tasha greeted me with a hug, practically glowing. Jason was there too, holding her hand like he hadn't broken my heart 24 different ways. Everyone seemed happy. Her mom thanked me for helping organize. Her aunt told me I was such a good friend. I smiled, thanked them, made small talk. My hands were steady. My mind was clear. At exactly 3:45 p.m., I asked for everyone's attention. I put together a little video for Tasha, I announced. A look back at her life and the journey to this beautiful moment. Let's celebrate her. She looked so touched. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The lights dimmed. The projector flickered on. And for 5 full minutes, the room was filled with laughter and sniffles as childhood memories and tender photos danced across the screen. Her baby pictures. Her prom. Her college graduation. And then, dark screen. No music. Just silence. Then Jason's voice. I don't even know if I want the kid. But what am I gonna do now? She's keeping it. A gasp. She's so clueless. Honestly, it's kind of fun watching her try to be understanding. People shifted in their seats. You said you'd leave her. Yeah, well, she still lets me sleep with her. So. Silence. All eyes turned to Jason. To Tasha. Then to me. I stepped forward. Calm. Clear. That's how much respect they had for all of us, I said softly. For me. For this baby. For each other. And then I walked out. By the time I reached the street, my phone was already buzzing. Calls. Texts. Tasha. Jason. Mutual friends. I didn't answer any of them. I went home, took off my dress, lit a candle, and sat on the balcony with a glass of wine. It was quiet. Peaceful. Like the first exhale after holding your breath for too long. Jason showed up at my door an hour later. He was yelling my name, banging on the door, begging me to open up. I can explain. That recording, it's taken out of context. I laughed. Out loud. Tasha texted me next. Her message was long. A mixture of anger, confusion, and a pathetic attempt at guilt-tripping me. How could you do that? You humiliated me in front of my family. I thought we were friends. I replied with one line. Friends don't sleep with friends' boyfriends. The next day, their relationship status disappeared from social media. A week later, I heard Jason had moved out of Tasha's apartment. And a few months after that, someone told me Tasha had gone to live with her aunt in another state. I never saw either of them again. But every now and then, I think about that afternoon, the moment their lies crumbled in front of everyone they knew. And I smile. Because I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't fight. I simply told the truth. And the truth was enough to burn their entire world down. Once the dust settled, I had to face something I hadn't been ready for before, myself. For so long, I had made Jason and Tasha the center of my world. Every plan, every decision, every emotion, tied to people who clearly didn't care about me the way I cared about them. Now, they were gone. And for the first time in years, I had silence. Solitude. A strange mix of emptiness and opportunity. I started small. I deleted all the old photos. Blocked their numbers. Put away the necklace Jason had given me and donated the sweater Tasha had borrowed from me for months and never returned. Then I went bigger. I signed up for a pottery class. I know, random, but I needed something to do with my hands besides scrolling through messages that no longer came. I met people. Laughed again. Slowly, I started to feel like someone new was forming out of the ruins. People talk about revenge like it's the end. But for me, It was just the beginning. The beginning of a life where I chose me. And it felt incredible. 3 months after the baby shower, I got a message I didn't expect. Not from Jason. Not from Tasha. From someone else entirely. Hi. I know we've never met, but I think we might have something in common. I was dating Jason for 6 months last year. He said you two were done. I just found out about everything. I'm so sorry. Her name was Rachel. She had found me through mutual friends on social media after hearing the story from someone who had attended the baby shower. She said she felt foolish, blindsided. She wasn't alone. We spoke on the phone for an hour that night. She cried. I listened. We compared timelines. It was worse than I thought. He had been cheating on all of us, juggling women like toys. And just like that, I realized something. I wasn't just a victim of betrayal. I was part of a pattern. A long, ugly pattern. But that also meant, he didn't break me because I was weak. He targeted me because I trusted. Because I loved hard. And that was never something to be ashamed of. A few weeks later, karma came knocking. Rachel messaged me again with a screenshot. It was from Jason's new job. Apparently, he'd been let go. Word had gotten around about the baby shower disaster, and it reached one of his company's board members, who happened to be, you guessed it, a guest that day. Apparently, Jason had been moonlighting as a charming bachelor even at work, flirting with coworkers, getting involved in some shady behavior. It caught up to him. Now he was unemployed, alone, and, from what Rachel heard, struggling to convince anyone to take him seriously again. Tasha. She'd gone radio silent on everyone. No social media. No updates. Last anyone knew, she was still pregnant, living far away, staying with family. And me. I was sipping coffee on my balcony, replying to messages from new friends, getting ready for a weekend getaway with people who actually cared. Somewhere along the way, I had found peace. Not because I got revenge, but because I found closure. I had looked betrayal in the eye, smiled, and walked away taller than ever. One rainy Sunday, I sat by the window with a cup of tea and scrolled through old emails. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, just cleaning up. That's when I found a folder labeled J+T Plans. It was full of photos, notes, and ideas for a trip the three of us had planned to take the previous year. Back when I thought we were inseparable. Back when I believed in us. I almost deleted it. But then I paused. And instead of hitting delete, I created a new folder. I called it Before. Not out of nostalgia, but to remind myself how far I had come. People say forgiveness is about letting go of anger. But I learned that forgiveness, for me, was something quieter. It wasn't about excusing them. It was about refusing to let their actions define me any longer. I didn't need an apology from Jason. Or from Tasha. I had already given myself the only thing that mattered, freedom. And that was more powerful than any "I'm sorry" could ever be. 6 months later, I was standing on the edge of a cliff in Santorini, Greece, my arms outstretched as the wind danced through my hair. The ocean sparkled below. The sky was painted in a sunset of impossible colors. Next to me stood someone new. His name was Eli. Kind eyes. A gentle voice. The kind of man who listened, really listened. We'd met in the most unexpected way, at that pottery class I joined all those months ago. It wasn't love at first sight. It was better. It was slow, earned, built on trust and respect. The opposite of everything I had been through. One night, over dinner on our tiny rental balcony, Eli asked me about my past. I don't want to pry, he said, but I know something must have happened to make you guard your heart like you do. I smiled, not in pain, but in peace. I was lied to. Betrayed by people I trusted more than anything, I said softly. But they taught me something they never meant to. How to protect my peace, how to find my strength, and how to walk away with grace. He reached for my hand and kissed it. Then I'm thankful for whoever hurt you. Because they led you here. And just like that, the girl who once cried over text messages and broken promises sat in a foreign country, falling in love with life again. Jason and Tasha? They were just a chapter. But I had turned the page. And the rest of my story? It was mine to write. The end. If this story moved you, shocked you, or gave you a sense of justice, don't forget to like the video. Share your own story in the comments. Subscribe for more powerful real-life inspired drama stories every week. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the best revenge is simply living well.